Hello there, this is DBT and this is Art of Rooms. And alright, let's start playing Asphalt Legends Unite on the Nintendo Switch. That's right everybody, it's already out, we have it here on the platform, and today we're gonna talk about the whole thing. But actually the main reason for me to record this video is to admit that DBT was wrong. That's right, I predicted something that didn't come through, and I'm actually incredibly happy to be wrong about this right now. I'll get into it, but before that, why don't you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel, because remember, I post videos literally every single day, so there's always something to watch around here. And if you would like to support me directly, please consider joining the Vroom memberships, where you will have access to exclusive videos and all of that good stuff, so go ahead, check it out by the join button. But alright, what was DBT wrong about? I made a video yesterday talking about all of the things that I was gonna miss of Asphalt 9 in the Switch once Asphalt Legends Unite dropped. And some of these things remain true, like the more expensive car hunts, like the situation with no ads to refill tickets, things like that. But in that video, I made sure to talk about that the main thing that I was worried about losing, and that I was pretty much sure that we were gonna lose, was going to be the offline mode. Now, it exists. In fact, offline is there, quick race is there, and all of this makes me so unbelievably happy. In fact, let me show it to you real quick. If you want to manually activate the offline mode, you go into the settings, and over there under game settings, you go offline, and it gives you a little bit of a warning, and then it loads into this side of the game, where, much like I showed you in the previous video, you don't have access to a whole lot of things other than, in this case, multiplayer for the split screen, and over here in career, we have access to the quick race. Now, let me do a race over here real quick. Quick race, do it real quick. And I'm gonna do a custom race for the sake of, you know, just showing you something. But man, oh, this makes me so unbelievably happy. Without going into all of the things that I talked about yesterday, I'll just quickly say that to me, the offline mode is super important in this game, because this makes it so that even when the servers of Asphalt Legends Unite shut down, which whenever that's gonna be, could be 5 years, 10 years, who knows, in a year, whatever. But when that happens, we're still gonna have access to, at the very least, the offline mode. And for game preservation purposes, this is absolutely a huge deal for me. But in a more immediate scenario, it's great for whenever you are in, I don't know, in a place where you don't have internet, in an airplane, when there's a power outage, or there is an internet outage, or something like that, you can still play the game. Sure, you cannot play it in multiplayer or anything, but if what you want to do is just drive some of your fancy cars in some of these fancy locations, then you can still do it. And to me, this is such a big deal. And like I said, in the previous video, I talked about how I thought that this was going to go away, but it didn't. And you might be thinking, DBT, then what gave you the idea that it was going to go away? Well, Gameloft never confirmed or denied whether or not the offline mode was gonna stay there, along with the quick race. They never talked about it. And I was afraid that it was going to go away, because for the longest time, this same team of Gameloft has never cared to add an offline mode or a quick race mode. And I thought, well, they're probably not gonna bother to try to preserve the offline mode / quick race mode that the Clutch team added to this version of the game, assuming that it was the Clutch team that added it. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know if the Clutch team worked on this version of the game from the get on the Switch, but oh well. Okay, there's one quick race. Let me do another one just to finish this thought. Might as well do one of this, right? Yeah, sure. This is one of the, the semi-career, the mini-career mode, and it has some challenges, so sure, let's drive that thing, because why not? So I thought that this was going to go away, but it didn't. It's still here, and I was afraid indeed that it was going to go away, but I'm incredibly pleasantly surprised that it didn't, that it's still here, and we can continue to play this even if we're without internet connection or whatever. This is absolutely fantastic to me, and I just saw a police car Chiron back there. Yeah, those exist because of the Pursuit game mode, but hey, we're not going to talk about that too much over here. Another thing that I want to show you over here while I'm playing is, have you noticed the game performance? This is actually surprisingly good. Oh my god, I gotta take my hat off, is that how you say it? Or, you know, send kudos to the Gameloft team, because they got this thing working really surprisingly good. Now, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and there were some sacrifices that had to be made in order to get the game working in the way that it is right now. But even then, this is so much more than I expected it was going to be. One of the things that I didn't talk about in the last video is indeed that I was afraid that once Asphalt Legends Unite was going to drop, the performance was going to be absolutely terrible. And here I am playing it, and it's actually working pretty damn nice. All right, let me go back into the online mode so that we can continue talking about these things while I show you other parts of the game. And we're back online. All right, perfect. So let's talk a little bit about the performance. When I installed Asphalt Legends Unite, after I made sure, that the menus were there, the basic stuff, I went into Quick Race, and I went ahead and did one of the first races that were available over here. Because, by the way, in updating to Asphalt Legends Unite, the progress that you may have had in Quick Race was lost. But I was like, that's okay, I'll eventually get to do all of these races, it's alright, it's not a problem. So I went ahead and jumped into this particular race, just, as a little bit of a test of the performance of the game. And what I saw at first, it was actually very disappointing because it was kind of what I expected. A lot of frame drops. It was not a great experience. In fact, let's see if we get to see it over here. But I was like, holy moly. At first, it seems that it works fine. But then in some particular areas, specifically on jumps, I noticed that the game was lagging quite a bit. And by lagging, I mean frame drops. Now, I noticed this throughout this race, and it was mostly on the jumps. And I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. In the jumps and sometimes when I did 360s. But like over here, look at that. Oh, you saw that, didn't you? Yeah, the frame drops, and this was my very first experience with the performance of the game, and I'm like, oh boy. And this is only against the AI. How is this gonna be in other scenarios, right? My first impressions weren't great, but later on I said like, okay, oh wow. I actually need to test it in other places, and I actually ended up doing a 3-hour-long live stream of Asphalt Legends Unite earlier today. I'm gonna leave the link to that live stream in the description if you want to check it out. And over there is where I actually got to test more the performance of the game in other scenarios. Specifically, I played a lot of multiplayer, and you know what? Might as well play it to show you how it performs over there. And by the way, of course, oh look at that started super quick. This being Asphalt Legends Unite with crossplay means that I'm gonna be playing against a bunch of other people from a lot of other platforms. And actually, I don't know if they did this already on global or not, but you can see next to the names of the players what type of device this guy they're playing on. This guy in front of me is playing, for example, on a cell phone, and you can see the little icon over there. But you can also see people that are playing in a console, people that are playing on PC, and I think that's pretty neat to be able to see. But yeah, so in that live stream, I did a ton of multiplayer testing. And the one thing that I found is that, remember all that lag that I just showed you? It is not present over here. I ended up reaching the conclusion that probably the lag that I saw in that particular race was just bad luck of me choosing a bad race to start with because it had a ton of cops, and I guess that's what's creating the lag. But other than that, in fact, oh Jesus Christ. All right, a little bit of a ring out. I love when that happens. In all of the races, and trust me, I played a ton of races, I did not notice performance issues here in multiplayer. And this is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Like I said, kudos to the Game Love team, because it's unbelievable what they pulled off over here in making the game run as well as it does in such old hardware like it is the Nintendo Switch. Now, like I said, it's not perfect. You might still notice frame drop here and there, but you can see in general the experience is very, very smooth. However, another thing that I should mention real quick is a change that if you haven't noticed it just yet, you should do it. And that is that for some reason the game, once it gets installed, it defaults to 30 FPS. But you go into game settings, you go into sounds and display, and over there you change it to 60 frames per second. And I thought, well, with 60 frames per second, the performance is probably gonna be worse. But actually, it wasn't. Like I said, I've been playing with 60 FPS all this time, and it works just fine. Another thing that I noticed that works better now than it did on the previous version of Asphalt 9 on the Switch is that, look at this, I click on play, and there's the garage. No longer do you have to wait like 5-6 seconds for the garage to load. No, it's right away and it's there, and then you can start playing. I'm not gonna skip the loading just so that you have an idea of how long it takes. The races still take a little bit to load, but that is only normal. And then also there's the whole thing of, well, it needs to do the matchmaking. So right now it's looking for the players, finds the players, and then initializing race. This is when the loading is actually starting. And there it is. We're inside. And from here onwards, it's just waiting for players. And there you go. The process is way quicker overall. Like I said, I'm insanely pleasantly surprised about this whole thing. Now, I did say that there were some prices or some sacrifice to be made in order to get this performance going. First of all, look at that bloom. Well, I don't know if you notice it here. I'll look for another map to show it to you. But the bloom effects on the screen are very blocky, which tells me that they're not like super high resolution bloom effects. But hey, they're there if you like them. But for people that don't like them, like myself, bad news. I can't turn it off. I'll talk about that a little bit later once I get to talk about the bad things that I found about the game. But in general, performance, really good. Though, again, one of the sacrifices that was made over here is that we no longer have those fancy shadows those shadows that are cast in the shape of the car, you know, that you could see on the shadow very well, the shape of the wing and whatever and all of that stuff. Yeah, we don't have that anymore, so RIP. But honestly, it's fine. I don't need those shadows. I would rather keep this game running at such good frame rate, because again, you're just seeing this as it is. 60 frames per second. Probably there's some dips here and there, but it's nothing super noticeable. And in a ton of races that I've already played over here, I'm still finding it to be very, not even bearable, very nice in general. So, this is absolutely fantastic. Now, I want to talk about a topic that it's very divisive. And I know people will have, not only people will have, people already have really, what would I call it? Let me think of a nice way of saying this. Strong opinions, that's the best way of saying it. People have very strong opinions, and I'm talking about the loss of gasless drift. Now, this is not news. I don't know why some people are acting like, oh my god, why did this happen? I mean, I understand why that people are wondering about it, but this was foretold like a month ago. I, in fact, made a video specifically saying goodbye to gasless drift. I'll put the link in the top right if I remember to. But yeah, gasless drift is not a thing anymore. And again, if you're a player from the global and you don't know what I'm talking about with gasless drift, basically, in the old version of Asphalt 9 here on the Switch, we had this other peculiar mechanic where if you had manual acceleration and you were drifting, you could release the gas or the accelerator, and that would make the drift wider, but also lose speed much slower. So in many cases, it ended up being a very fast drift, if a bit wide. So it was a very fun mechanic overall. And well, here people on the Switch, a lot of people on the Switch got used to playing with it. It's actually a lot of fun. I really like the gasless drift, but like I said, and I said it on that video, Gameloft just was going to remove it because, well, they wanted to unify. To be fair, if the Switch, for example, had kept the gasless drift, it would be really unfair for everybody else because they don't have it. Any other console or any other platform doesn't have gasless drift. So it would be straight up unfair on how powerful some cars actually became with the gasless drift. So I understand why Gameloft got rid of it, but like I said, some people have been really screaming to the skies right now, like, oh my god, this is terrible. And I understand the bother, but once again, this was foretold, and well, here it is. Now we play with the same physics as Global has been playing for a while. Now, to be fair, I was just driving a car that drifts really good, so let me select another car that is not as good at drifter like a... no, not the Carrera. Let's see. What is not a great drifter around here in these ranks? Let's go with the Essenza. No. How about an ALUon? The ALUon is not a fantastic... It's not terrible, but it's not fantastic. So anyway, yeah, we now are playing with the same physics as Global has been playing with for all this time. And I know that it feels weird for all of us that we're already super used to playing with gasless drift. But, you know, you get used to it. And like I said, this is not a change that came out of nowhere. We knew that this was going to happen. And in fact, people had a lot of time to get, well, all that time since it was announced, to start getting used to it by playing without the gasless drift in the game. But oh well. The physics in general do feel a little bit different thanks to this, but overall, it's still the same game. You just need to get used as to how it drives now because, well, now you have to be paying much more attention to when you drift. You shouldn't be as liberal with the drifting or with the steering, because I've seen people also complaining about, like, oh my god, anytime that I turn now, I lose a ton of speed. Yes, you do. That's normal. Like this. I'm at 300, but if I start turning, look at all the speed that I lose. This has always been the case. That is why you need to use the nitro to save your speed. Now, again, it's different from how it felt in the previous version of this game here on the Switch. But, well, this is the new normal, I guess. And I can definitely sympathize with the people that are having a bad time with this new driving feeling to the game. But, well, like I said, this is just what GameLove had to do in order for this to be fair. Either they added gasless drift to all of the platforms, or they removed it from the one platform that was the odd one. And as much as we here on the Switch feel like, oh, it's unfair that they took it away, the reality is that the Nintendo Switch player base is smaller than all the other player bases. So it makes more sense to get rid of this one than to build it up on all the other ones and make people get used to the new driving in all of the other platforms. So, well, I guess that's the price to pay for us being the minority. It's fine. Like I said, I'm personally not too offended by this. While gasless drift was indeed a ton of fun, this is, you know, just... I guess I'm just biased simply because I have been playing like this in the global version for a while now, so I know how to play this. Not greatly, you can see that I'm a bad player, but my point is just that I'm used to this, so this doesn't feel particularly strange. And honestly, it's just a matter of practicing. It's not like the entire game feels different, it's just that you now have to adjust your playing style a little bit in some situations. But overall, play it for a few hours and then you'll be ready to continue playing as always. I don't know, I do have a theory though. And that is that the mid players like myself won't have too much trouble adapting to this new driving feeling in the game. The people who are gonna have the most trouble adapting to it are the pro. Whoa. Okay. Finally, we encounter a situation of really poor frame rate over there. Well, it was a hiccup, not fantastic, but hey, let's see how the rest of this map works. Because this I never played in multiplayer. I never had gotten it before. But anyway, I do believe that it's gonna be the aliens of this game who are gonna have the most trouble readapting, or rather getting to the same level of skill. You know, being alien in gasless drift, well, they managed it, they mastered it, and they got really good at it. But now without it, now if they want to continue being alien level players, they need to practice a ton with this. So I can see how this definitely is very annoying for players like that. But like I said, for the vast majority of players that we just play okay at best, this is absolutely doable. And well, here we are. So yeah, I can sympathize with the people who are having troubles with this. But well, it's just, this is the new normal. And honestly, I think in general we have gained a bunch of things with Asphalt Legends Unite. So I don't know, I guess I'm happy. Yeah, I think so. Oh, and one last thing to mention over here related to the drift, in case you're having a problem with this, because I was having this problem at the start, is that, well, first of all, I removed manual acceleration because it no longer does anything. So I have full automatic acceleration. But now I'm used here on the Switch to hold drift to continue drifting, but I just lost it. And I'm still holding the button. Let me try again. I'm gonna start drifting now. Drifting, and I lost it. I'm still holding the button, but I'm no longer drifting. One more time. Holding it. I'm still holding, and it's lost. Thanks to this new physics, holding the button for drift is actually not the way to do it. If you want to hold your drift, what you want to do is just tap it, and then you can, that's it. You keep on running on the drift for as long as you want, and then, well, so long as you maintain it, obviously. And then if you want to get out of the drift, then you just tap it again, and there you go. You're out of the drift. So again, just tap it, and you can drift for as long as you can maintain it. So that was one thing that wasn't immediately obvious to me. I had to figure it out. It's like, because at first I was like, why does my drift feels weird? Well, I ended up discovering that that's why. Now, one advantage of having this new drift style is that you can do quick, straight line drift. So look at this. I'm going on a straight line, and I can just tap the button, and I drift a little bit. Well, actually, I ended up doing a perfect run over there, so it looked like I recharged a ton of nitro. So let me show you in one more angle. And for this, I chose a car with bad nitro, or at least when it's not upgraded, just so that I can show you how you can build the nitro. Basically, when you're going on a straight line and you have the automatic acceleration, all you gotta do is tap the button, and you can see I built a little bit. Just tap it and build a little bit. Tap it, build a little bit. So in this way, you can continue tapping it so long as you time it properly and you're not steering, otherwise you actually enter into a drift. And you can continue building your nitro like that. It's, I think they call it break nitro or something like that. I don't quite remember. It's a bit of a trick that you can do over here. So in case you were not familiar with it, now you know that you can continue building your nitro in such a way. And that is definitely useful. Again, straight line, I'm just tapping it and there we go. I built some additional nitro. So there you go. That is one of the advantages that we have with this style of nitro. Now it's not that I know a lot of tricks or anything, but I just thought it would be useful for you to know in case you're not familiar with this. But look at how cool this map looks. Man, like I was saying, in general, this game looks pretty good, considering that it's running on the Switch, and that they did include this fancy light, dynamic light of my headlights. You know, you can see how it's lighting up ahead of me. Now, granted, this track is not particularly dark, even though it's nighttime, but you can see how in this I have my headlights on and lighting up a little bit. That is fantastic. It looks super nice. We did lose, like I said, those fancy shadows, but overall, I'm okay with losing that. The game still looks pretty good, and it still runs amazingly well. I'm so surprised about this whole thing. Now, I just spent 21 minutes talking, more like 20, but yeah. 20 minutes talking about the things that I have been pleasantly surprised about this game. I'm going to talk about some of the bad things, and one of them, at least this is a personal one, a personal thing for me, is the fact that there's no graphics settings. You can only, like I showed you earlier, you can go into sound and display and you can adjust a couple things over here, but you cannot really change the graphics settings. So for example, if I wanted to get rid of all of that bloom that in my opinion looks very bad, you can't. It's the game looks like the game looks, and you have no power over what effects to turn on or off. Now, this is normal for, I think, for just about any mobile device, whether it's iOS or Android. I think in consoles it's the same, but in the or rather Windows version of the game, you do have the possibility of turning off some of these effects, you know, to tweak the performance of the game. So I wish that was a thing over here, so that if you want to turn off some of those other fancy effects, you could. Unfortunately, that is not there. Now, just to give you an idea of what I was talking about with the bloom and why I don't like it, notice when I'm using nitro, in the exhaust of my car, you can see the flame, but you can also see a bit of a glare of the fire, you know, making it look a little bit more yellowy around it. Not only the fire, but around the fire, right? That is the glare of the visual effect on the screen and whatnot. But see what happens, and when you're doing it like this, it looks alright, you know, nothing too particular, but look at how that is gonna look once I am in the dark. Check this out. Oh, that is so blocky. You see it? Do you see how weirdly blocky that glare looks? That is why I don't like bloom. And in fact, I feel like they overuse the bloom in general, but hey, still, I wish you could turn it off, but it's not a huge deal. It's just a little bit of an annoyance, nothing major. But yeah, I wish the game did have the option to turn some of these effects, whether for performance or simply out of preference. Now, another bad thing that actually doesn't affect me, but I thought it was important to mention it anyway, is that apparently the rumble in the controller is no longer there. I guess that bugged out or something, or I don't know what's going on. But yeah, the rumble on the controller is not there, and well, if you like it, yeah, I don't know. And I would imagine that this is something that Game of This is going to fix. I don't know if they've reported it already on their Discord server. If they haven't, make sure to still report it, but still double check. Do a bit of a search just to see if people reported it. Yeah, I would imagine that they will end up fixing that. So remember, this is the first release of Asphalt Unite here on this platform, so there's still some things to fix here and there, right? Things that they need to tweak. Over here, we're gonna see the glare again, looking terrible. Look at my glare. Oh, it's terrible. I'm fine, whatever. But yeah, you can see over there the headlight that I was talking about. I did notice though that the headlight effect, it has a shorter range than it does in global. Because in global, it illuminates further ahead in front of you. Over here, it's very short range, but it's there just, again, it's not that it actually helps on in any sense. It doesn't help you to do anything, but it's just there for visual, I suppose, eye candy of some sort. So yeah, it's there. I don't know. It's fine. I don't care too much. I'm doing this race, by the way. The first time that I'm doing this race, it's the weekly competition, just to see where I land Because look, I did say that I'm somewhat used to this gasful drift. I mean, not gasless drift. And yeah, I think I'm okay at it for now. But I want to see just how good or bad I end up. Position 11,000. All right, I don't think that was a great lap. Does that put me in 10%? Probably. Maybe? Probably. All right, yeah, give me my tokens. Thank you. And no, 20%. All right, I need to improve. I'm telling you, as much as I'm used to driving like this in the global version, it's still a little bit weird to do it with a controller, which is how I'm playing this. While in the global version on Steam, I play with the keyboard. I am comfortable playing with keyboard, but hey, little by little, I'm getting used to this, so I'm gonna do another run and hope that this time I can get a better result. So overall, yeah, it does have a couple of things, bad things here and there, and I'm sure that I'm gonna find more bad things, but overall, my general impression of this update is that this is incredibly good. Way better than I expected. The performance is pretty good. Yeah, with the odd dips here and there, but I think it's working at the very least at the same level that Asphalt 9 was working on the Switch, if not even a little bit better. Like I showed you the thing of the garage, that it loads super quick, which was a big complaint that I had for a while in terms of optimization or lack. The races in general are pretty smooth. The game looks pretty good. Like I said, yeah, it doesn't look nearly as detailed as you can make it look on the PlayStation or an Xbox if you have it to maximum graphics, which is, I suppose, how it runs over there. It doesn't look nearly as fancy, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as I thought it was going to run. Because again, I thought either the game is going to look terrible so that it runs fine, or it's going to look super fancy and it's going to run horrendously. And I think they found a really, really good middle point between those two things. In fact, in general, the performance so far doesn't leave anything for me to desire. It seems good. And like I said, in multiplayer, where it matters, I did not encounter any issue other than that previous race that we did in this video in... oh man, I slowed down a lot of it. In Singapore, but you know, stuff happens. We still have to test Osaka, I guess, where frame drops were a big thing. Did I improve my time at all? Actually, I did. Now I'm in position 9,000 rather than 11,000. I'll keep working on that and hopefully get something better than that. Am I still in 20%? And the answer is yes. All right, so I still need to continue playing. But yeah, overall, man, I'm really, really, really surprised about this whole thing. I thought today was gonna be a bad day and I was gonna be hating what they did with this version of the game, and instead was quite the opposite. So much so that what I thought was gonna be an hour-long stream ended up being 3 hours. Once again, if you want to watch it, the link is on the description. I did talk about it, didn't I? That I did the 3-hour live stream. I think I talked about it. And if not, I did a 3-hour live stream with this thing. If you want to watch it, link is in the description. Something else to mention, some of the bad thing, for example, is the fact that they did not adjust this Drive Syndicate. And by that I mean that this Drive Syndicate ends in 14 days and 9 hours. I mean 15 days in total. But we still have to do the entire thing. It's kind of ridiculous to... Oh Jesus, can I not skip this, please? I don't want to see this. I don't care. I'm sorry, I just don't care for the lore of this event, but okay, there. Yeah, just 15 days to do this entire thing is gonna be tough to do. I will try. I'll see how far I can get, because I might be able to unlock the Ferrari SF90XX Stradale. The one thing that they did change is the fact that they removed the Grand Prix for the for the Lamborghini Authentica. They removed it because we would have needed to spend 500 tokens in order to access it, as opposed to people in Global, where you just qualified by, you know, doing the qualifier round. So GameLoft did say that they're gonna restart this Grand Prix, I believe, tomorrow, specifically for the Switch, so that we can do our Grand Prix in time and do our practice and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, like I said, overall, there's a bunch of events that were skipped for sure. You know, we missed on the Frankie, the events 1, 2, and 3. We missed out on the Pagani Huayra special event. We missed out on the Genti ALUon, what's it called? Starway, though that will repeat at some point in the future. So we missed out on a bunch of things, but overall, I can see how a lot of work was indeed put over here to make the game work as it is working right now. And like I said, I'm really happy to see that. And during the stream, I got this question a bunch of times. What is that new currency at the top? Because you see I have my credits and I have my tokens, but now there's a purple currency over there. That is the Asphalt diamond. If you don't know what they are, they're basically an intermediary currency in order to make purchases in the game. So if we go over here, for example, you see that some stuff like this pack I can buy for actual money. But there's some other purchases that I can only do with diamonds. How do you get diamonds? By paying money for your diamonds. So it's an intermediary currency to buy some stuff. Why? I have no idea, but it is there. So yeah, that's another one of those changes. I believe that in the PlayStation they also got this diamond thing. So I don't know. There's a theory going around that maybe it's about making additional purchases and the commission for the Nintendo shop. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know why they added it, but yeah, it's there. Let me claim my free pack. And actually, I have a bunch of packs over here because if you remember, if you play the global version of Asphalt Legends Unite when it dropped, you know that the garage levels were increased. And for all of the garage levels that you increased based on your garage point, you get additional packs. I haven't claimed those just yet because I'm gonna buy the the Unite Pass and get the additional trade coins, so that additional trade coin percentage, so that I can make the most out of that. Don't worry, I'll get into it. But yeah, over here I'm in garage 38. I think in global I was like 33 or something. So yeah, I'm a little bit further ahead over here, but again, so far these garage levels don't mean that you can get the blueprints in the shop. That Gameloft said that they're going to be fixing in the next update in general for Asphalt Legends Unite, which hopefully now is going to be all at the same time in all of the platforms. But yeah, just to close my thoughts over here, I'm incredibly pleasantly surprised at how this is running, how well it runs, how good it looks, all things considered, and the fact that we still have offline mode. And like I said, I was completely wrong about that, but this is one of those times that I couldn't be any happier to be dead wrong about something. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.